And then looking at the rest of this next year, 2026. I mean, the midterms will be next year. I'm curious if you think that that's going to influence President Trump and Republicans and the way they look at the economy, because the economy continues to be the top issue. I know President Trump said that the economy right now, as I said at the beginning of this conversation, is an A plus, four more pluses behind that. I think if you asked any American, no one would agree with him, or maybe one or two people, but the vast majority don't feel that way. So realistically, what do you think he is going to do? What policies do you think he is going to put in place in the next year?
He's going to play the fear card. And I think he's going to play the fear card really big. And to the extent that there's economics, it won't be the kind of economics we're talking about. It'll be weaved in with fear. Right? If we lose control, right, it'll be a disaster. The economy will tank. We'll have woke policies. You'll be unemployed. You name it. It'll be fire and brimstone. We have it. So I think that's what he's going to do. I don't think it's going to have anything, very little, to do with economics. I think he'll see what happens, and obviously he makes his adjustments. But no, I honestly do not think they really take economics of the sort we're talking about seriously. I don't think they fundamentally believe in markets. I don't think they fundamentally believe in government. I think it's sort of a nihilistic approach that we'll do it, or Trump will do it his way, and he'll go with his gut. And he knows that a big chunk of or an important chunk of the country is susceptible to fear. And he's going to play on that. And there are lots of targets still that he can identify as sources of fear, and that he's the person standing in the way of all these fearful forces and bad things.
I'm a journalist. I read your book, and you said that journalists could be the bridge between economists and policymakers. So I'll try to be that bridge right now. Let's say President Trump, let's say anyone in his administration is watching. What would be your number one piece of advice as an economist when it comes to what his next move should be? Would it be just repealing those tariffs?
No, read my book first. Read my book. And the reason is because, especially as Republicans, and I make it quite clear in the book what I am, which is an independent, and long an independent, although clearly people listening to me would think this guy's pretty libertarian. But I would say, look, rekindle Republican support and interest in market forces. They're what drive the economy. They are what has created wealth and material quality of life in this country, and also help, at least in some aspects of distribution, by creating jobs and opportunities for people. You've lost faith in markets. Have faith in markets. That's what you need to do. The implications are things like you don't need to intervene in international markets with tariffs. Our companies will do fine. All right, our consumers know their preferences. They'll do fine, right? Don't rely on those kinds of things. There's certain areas, yes, where you can make some improvements, like we talked about with cafe, and probably other ones, all right? But focus on the things that we know are effective. And we've done this through markets that have helped for so long and have done so much. But also there are certain things that government, it probably is good that they do them. And environment is one of them. And it is not a hoax. It's ridiculous to say that. I mean, all you need to realize that is if well, this is not going to happen, but let me quickly tell you. I've been to Beijing many times, and I actually was there before COVID. And one thing I was prepared for is what the environment pollution is like there. It's pretty incredible. And I got N95 masks to wear there because I knew what I was warned what it would be like. Okay. The thing about China and Beijing is the environment will change if there are people coming there that are perceived to be important. So I've been there times when it really is hard to breathe the air there. It's tough. You really need those masks. But I've been there other times. It's been spectacular. And what's happened is I happened to be there at times when there was some important delegation from other countries that were going to be there, and they shut things down. So there's no industrial production, there's hardly any traffic, and there's no pollution. Well, you see the difference. And you breathe that kind of thing, you realize, look, this is not something that's going to be healthy for you, right? And forget about anything fancy about, climate change or whatever. Pollution is a bad thing. You don't want to be breathing this stuff. And I think that they need to really come to grips with that. It doesn't have to be liberal or progressive or whatever. This is real. It's unhealthy. And we ought to think seriously about how to address this. And there are ways to do it. So those are the points I would try to get across. Good luck, right?
I think, I don't want to be devil's advocate here, but I think someone would argue with you that if they put all the industrial things to a grinding halt to limit pollution, then the economy would take a hit. What would you say to that?
This is Beijing. So a day or two they can do it, right? The day or two they can do it. No, they don't. No, this is not a long-term strategy. All right, this is sort of show the world that, put a good face on us for the world, right? No, I don't think it goes longer than a few days. No, at least in the days I've been there. It has nothing to do with the fact that all of a sudden their environment picked up. But this is the thing. They're seriously concerned about it, and this is why they're so aggressive about pushing electric vehicles. This is why they're also interested in pursuing autonomous vehicles. I mean, they know what it's like to live there. They have to breathe that air. Even she has to breathe that air. No, they want to change things. Thankfully, we're not as bad, but still, it's a serious problem. That's all. I think my concern is that this is a very serious problem. You shouldn't blow it off. And even if you can find people to believe you, this is bad. This is self-inflicted wound, maybe the biggest one. I mean, some people think it is, that what we're doing in the long run is really an existential threat. And so this is all being self-inflicted. It doesn't have to be. But, I think, again, this fear and hatred and everything else, it's just not, it doesn't work. We know that.
Well, the book, Market Corrections, Not Government Interventions, is out now. Where can people get it?
What I would Google it. Market Corrections and Government Interventions. Google it, and then you'll see Amazon and the publisher. Obviously, you can get it from them. Palgrave Macmillan, they published it. Yeah, wherever.
Perfect. Cliff, I always appreciate our conversations. Congrats on the book, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you.